Little bit of a quick bench update here, so just show you a couple of things I've had in. I've made a couple of purchases on my rounds recently. So we've got the Revell P47M Thunderbolt, which I'm just going to do a quick review of. Should get that up quite soon. So that's a lovely kit, one that goes under the radar a little bit. Very cheap, 1/72. So it's a very nice kit, really well detailed. And then something a bit different. Been watching this one on eBay. I don't know why I fancied one of these recently, but got it at the right price. So that's I don't know anything about this plane. A Swedish fighter J-22. So I don't know. I think I've got a feeling it's a Saab, but I might be wrong. So that's that one. A very strange little kit. Almost like it's short run, but it's not. It's got a very strange texture to it, and it almost got a sort of handmade feel to it, the way the panel lines are done. But we'll give it a go, that's no problem. I don't mind giving that one a go and see how it goes together. And this is a bit of an upgraded version, so it's got a little bit of etch metal there, which improves it a little bit, mostly for the cockpit. And a couple of nice options there. Most of this is post-war. Don't think any of it was during like the Second World War. But one of them's 1944, I think, is the option. So something a bit different there, quite colourful. So I've only had a couple kits that I've bought, which is probably a good thing. Been cracking on with the 262, so that's getting to a point now where we're into the final stages. So I'm going to gloss this one over and then get a wash on it, and probably call that done. So unmask it all and get the final part of the video up. So been a lovely kit, enjoyable build. I had an absolute nightmare putting the paint on. That was my fault, nothing to do with the kit itself. Decals are really nice. A bit different to your usual decals from an Airfix kit. They are a little bit thinner and a little bit less forgiving, so you do get a bit of tearing here and there, which you don't always get with the regular ones. So they're a little bit thinner, a lot more like Revell decals. Obviously they're all cartograph decals, but the way Revell do them, they're a little bit thinner. Huge amount of stencil data, so got all of that on. It does improve it. Who's to know how realistic that is, because you can actually read the German writing. I'm not sure if you would, having looking at these planes at Telford recently. It's pretty small, even on the real plane. But there you go, all adds to the effect, I don't mind. And I've added a swastika there from the Tech Mod set of swastikas. So that's an interesting thing to receive through the post. A sheet of swastikas, but has to be done if you want to be a bit more accurate, because they don't obviously come in the Airfix kits. So yeah. That's what's been going on at the minute. Everything else is mostly builds for Telford. So coming into the last week of October now, so Telford's in the second week of November. So everything's pushing quite heavily for that from my point of view, because I've got a table there on my own, so I've got to fill it. So I have been working on some stuff, obviously Spanish Civil War related. So got a little Panzer one there. Had a little experiment with the roof here. It's not until I've actually finished painting it, is always the case, that I've realised the easiest way to go about this was to have just left the door off, painted that white and put the cross on, and then that would have saved a few issues here. So I was trying to work out the best way to mask off the side, and I've basically gone and doused it all in Masco. So hopefully that will hold. I'm pretty confident I won't get the paint on it. How I'm going to get that Masco out of some of these tricky bits, well, I suppose we'll get to that in the next bit. But I tried brush painting it with very watered down paint, but it didn't really give the effect. So I'm going to spray that black, put a couple crosses across, put a couple pieces of masking tape across to give me two sort of definite lines, spray it white, peel them off, and we should be ready to go. Get the Masco off, and that should be somewhere near it. And then this one is ready just to have all the details painted in, glossed down, a few washes, and it should be ready to go. I've pretty much got everything together for Telford. The other thing I'm doing here is a little Jungmeister, I think it's called, which is a little biplane, German biplane trainer that sort of made it over there. There was a few, so this is an old helikit, which is quite interesting. Doing this one for as a second part to the interwar wings group build, so I've got to crack on if I want to finish that one. So I've taken pictures of that, so I'll put that up as a photo montage when the time comes. And I've still got the Stuka, so I really hope to finish off these fringe builds. I've got this one, a BT5, which is another tank, and the Jungmeister, like I mentioned. I've also got a Bulldog, Bristol Bulldog, knocking about as well. So I hope to get all those finished this week. This one, obviously, go on a bit longer. And then just to concentrate on the Stuka for the last couple of weeks. And I've put all the stuff together. I've measured out the table and stuff and had a look. And if we don't finish some of these builds, it's not the end of the world. I've got quite a lot, so I've got a pretty full table as it is. And then obviously I can finish the Stuka at a later date. So, not going to lie, I'll be quite happy when this is all out of the way. Obviously when we get to the event it's going to be really good. Telford's always great, but it's always a bit of a mad rush on the run down to it, and does test the mojo a little bit. I certainly think once I'm back from Telford I'll be hitting into some kits I've been looking at for a while that are a little bit different. Obviously I've got the 190, the new Edward one, which I've done a review from. Quite keen to get on with that one, just a nice clean build, something completely different. I'm also looking at the old Edward 109 G6 as well, which I bought at Telford 2016, so really like to get that finished in this year if I can. And then move back to some of the Spanish builds. I've got, as I mentioned before, I've got the grass spee, which I want to do over the winter. So yeah, that's an update from me. There's a couple of reviews coming your way, and stay tuned.